All right, before I start this review, I know it's been a while. It's been about a month since I made a Rick and Morty video. And the reason why is because the show went on a break after its sixth episode. And also, one more thing. Apparently, I saw this article that said that the showrunners think that season 6 is their best season, or at least one of them thinks that season 6 is their best season. And
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
all right, so Rick and Morty season 6 episode 7's plot is pretty much this. Rick and Morty find themselves confused. They remember some of their adventures together, which leads them to a standoff with an old enemy. All right, let's get into the good parts of this episode. And the first thing I'm going to say is the jokes in this episode were surprisingly funny. And who knew that Rick and Morty could actually be funny when they're not talking about incest? But anyways, the jokes landed. Honestly, most of the jokes landed. There wasn't really a part where I was, the jokes were kind of off. No, the entire episode, all the jokes that were trying to land and get a big laugh, got a big laugh out of me. And that plot description that I gave isn't really the plot of the episode. It's pretty much like Rick and Morty are going throughout these different universes because of this certain entity thing that they faced before. And it pretty much creates this thing where it's being meta or something, or it's all the TV show stereotypes within Rick and Morty or TV in general is used against them, and they have to find a way to navigate through that. And honestly, that was really cool. I thought it was a cool concept, and I think they nailed it for the most part, even though sometimes, once again, it's Rick and Morty. Sometimes they do go a bit over the top with being meta, but for this episode, that surprisingly worked for it. Another part in the episode that I liked was towards the end of the episode where Morty's trying to convince this writer guy to stop, being controlled by this certain dude. And the point that he makes from getting this advice from some old 80s actor, which is how, artists or people who are creative in some way are kind of mentally ill. And I thought that was a surprisingly touching point, and it made him eventually, stop himself from doing this thing. But then also this show, this episode had certain commentary on creative people or writers in general and how they're lazy in the ways that they get their ideas. And it's, I guess, kind of a way of, the writers self-reflecting on their own maybe, or maybe them just making commentary on all creative people. All right, let's get into my few criticisms of this episode. And the first thing is just a me thing. Throughout the midway point of the episode, even though it's only 20 minutes, I kind of zoned out for some reason. And it's only because even though this episode is trying to be unpredictable and sophisticated, you can kind of see where it's going, and that Rick and Morty are going to get out of this adventure alive and well. So I don't know, it was just kind of like a can you get to the point of this episode kind of thing. And another criticism that I have is that sometimes the jokes, even though once again most of them and pretty much all of them worked, but some of them were just a little bit on the nose with its TV stereotypes and stuff. Overall, guys, even though I've been criticizing Rick and Morty season 6 a lot, and I mean a lot, I thought that this was one of the best episodes of the season. Did you guys like this episode as much as I did? Let me know in the comments. And those are my thoughts on that.